Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. It is Sunshine Lorena and today I'm going to be telling you about the hottest new true crime podcast. First of all, I want to say thank you to Tandem Collective for sponsoring this video. And yes, I'm going to be talking about the hottest new true crime podcast. You might have seen Tandem Collective promoting this on their socials. And that is Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin. So if you have not heard about this podcast yet, I'm just going to give you a little brief synopsis and then I'm going to take you through a couple of mini reviews of the episodes I've listened to. This will be up on the 13th of July, so at this point the third episode will have been released out there in the public, and I have had the pleasure of being able to listen to all four. And trust me, you want to stick around for that fourth episode because it's a special one and it is really, really good. So the podcast, Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin, is being hosted by Alix Summers. You may have know her from a previous podcast series, All Women. This Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin podcast is a series of interviews she's had with this woman called Josie Fair, who is her birthday twin. This all happened back in 2019 and she is finally kind of ready to kind of put the information and the content out there for all of you to listen to. Initially, she thought this podcast was going to be pretty light-hearted themed podcast about like being birthday twins with this woman called Josie in the series of interviews. However, as she kind of got to know Josie and they were doing the interviews, things obviously took a different turn. I mean, you may know this already, but the project was kind of abruptly shelved as the real life collided with the podcast and things turned dark very quickly. Now, I know what you're thinking, another true crime podcast, and yeah, I know there's a lot out there. And why should you listen to this one? Well, first of all, it is a lot of mystery thriller vibes and you don't really know what is going to happen in this. There's a lot of that mystery intrigue in there that kind of keeps you hooked in and it keeps you kind of wanting to listen to the next episode. And if that doesn't convince you, there is a quote from Alix that she does say in like the initial podcast episode that really kind of piqued my interest, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued, you've got my attention, I need to keep listening. And what she said was, I hope that you enjoyed listening to this more than I enjoyed making it. So I was like, this sounds intriguing. I'm sold. I am going to be listening. You've got my interest here. It's peaked. I need to listen to what's going on. So like I've said, as of today, when you're watching this on the 13th, there will be 3 episodes out. And yeah, I'm just going to take you through kind of a brief synopsis. So giving a little bit of introduction by Alix, and we're kind of getting the background of Josie in the initial podcast. So we're getting the kind of the initial background of Josie, her life, her husband, and kind of the whole situation of things going on. And you're very much left with questions of kind of what's going on. There's more information, there is more going on with this Josie than we know from this. These podcast episodes are quite short. They're about 11-ish minutes, 12 minutes. So they're very quick and they do end up leaving you a little bit of, I don't want to say really, a little bit of a cliffhanger. And it's kind of like, you know, when you read a thriller and you get to the end of certain chapters and you're like, I need to know more. Like, I really need to know more. And that's how this podcast kind of gives you those episodes kind of give you those thriller book vibes with how it leaves you on the cliffhangers. I mean, like I said, it is a true crime, so you are getting, you know, thrillers and true crimes, they tend to kind of link together, but that's how I kind of feel when I'm listening to it. Get to the end of the episode, that I feel like I'm at the end of a chapter in a thriller book and it's just giving me all the thriller vibes. And as you know, I love thrillers, so this is like the perfect podcast for me, and I really think you're gonna like it. In terms of kind of Alix as the podcaster host, I feel like she's got a very podcasty, like newscaster kind of voice, if you know what I mean, like very informative. You feel like she knows what she's talking about. She presents the right questions at the right time for Josie, and you can tell that when Josie gives certain information, she kind of goes with the lead and kind of gets the right question to go down the route to get the right information from that, because she picks up on something that's interesting and goes down that direction. Also, when she realizes that things, maybe Josie's been a little bit apprehensive and holding back, she will switch the line of questioning to make her feel more comfortable again, but while still getting information that us as the listeners really need to know. But she's very much it's very investigative, you can tell for her line of questioning, and we're very much finding out the same information that she is at the same time. She didn't know any of this obviously prior to kind of filming these episodes and doing interviews. I think, like I said, given the kind of, that gives those kind of thriller kind of chapter like book vibes. I think it's also because the interviews were done across on different days over a period of time. You do kind of get that break, they obviously go away and it's a different situation, she goes in a different line of questioning, so it's not like these have been all filmed at the same time. They have been filmed across a period of time as things are happening in Josie's life. And like I said, you are very much, obviously you know that something's happened and you just kind of want to find out a little bit more information. Like I said, the first episode is very much background. You're getting to know like the whole history between Josie and her husband Walter, how they got together, and a little bit of information that does make you kind of question a little bit about what's been kind of going on, and it very much leaves you very intrigued to then go on to episode 2. And like I said about the questioning, I feel in episode 2 you very much you feel that Alix is picking up on certain cues from Josie and trying to go down those lines of questioning. I found the second episode very interesting and getting a little bit more information, not only about Josie's relationship with her husband Walter, but then also about her relationship with her mum as well, because it does play a part into the relationship between her and her husband as well, and kind of gives you those little bit more details about Josie and why things in her life has went the way that they have. Again, without trying to give up too much information, we do get a lot of details in this one, the second episode, and we are again left with the cliffhanger, making you want to immediately go and listen to the next one, which, since you're watching this on the 13th of July or later, it is up. So you can go into the next one. Let me tell you, episode 3 is really good, and like I said, I've been fortunate enough to already have been allowed to listen to the 4th episode, and that's a special, and it is just so good. I really enjoyed this true crime podcast. I have been getting a little bit more into true crime, like reading more true crimes, listening to them on audiobook, and I think this podcast is, like I said, is very perfect. You get like little bite-sized kind of chunks of information going on. It's very much, giving me like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a book that maybe like Lisa Joule would write in her thriller. Like these characters feel like they could be a character that she would write. Obviously they're not characters, we're talking about a true crime podcast here, but it does very much feel like a thriller. So if you are like someone like me who loves thrillers, this podcast is going to be perfect for you. Like I said, very much feels like Alix knows what she's doing. She has that very investigative kind of questioning and voice, and you feel very much in the hands of somebody who knows how to question someone and get the information out of it. And then with Josie, you are getting a little bit of, are you telling us everything? I feel like you're hiding something, like there's more to you than is that's letting on, which we all know that there obviously is, but you do get those kind of vibes between the two of them. It's only the two of them that you hear during this podcast. You don't hear the side of the husband, but you are, like I said, getting very details, and Josie kind of confronting certain things in the relationship. But I don't want to say too much else than that. But definitely go and look it up. Like I said, Tandem Collective are promoting this one. You would have seen on their socials. This is available on Spotify. Just go ahead, listen to it. Like I said, you're only talking about 11-12 minutes per episode that's out there. Very quick, something really easy to like listen to in the morning on your way to work. And I can't wait to see what's coming next from this one. If you have any questions or anything, I have details in the description link below all about this podcast. And let me know if you're going to listen to this one. If you have already listened to it, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!